happier place to be.
Maple syrup is the best. It's so good. Oh. Just be present with me and love me.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. When they start doing this weird hello.
And then we start administering the medicine, then we share some teachings and wisdom of the tradition, some teachings, of course, of the medicine. And the whole time we have the traditional music going on in the background.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Gramerica Show. We're going to be chatting with Amber and Anthony from Awaken Your Soul Iboga retreat down in
Costa Rica, I think.
Costa Rica. Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. They said Costa.
Did they? Okay.
So you usually just go with the opposite of whatever. Graham, I pronounce everything wrong. Dunlop. Actually, you've got much better at it lately.
Thanks.
You've come a long way
I'm trying.
in the last 5 years.
Because I'm reading audio, narrating. So I have to try.
I love when you say subsequent. And we have Mike in studio today.
How's it going?
Welcome
Good.
to the show.
Mike is from Vancouver. You guys have heard me talk about his UFO sightings recently, and he's been in Calgary this weekend, and we're like, hey, buddy, come to the studio and do an intro with us. It's good to see you face-to-face, and first time you and Darren have met in person.
Did you guys know each other from when you lived in Vancouver?
No.
No,
I met him actually from the show, kind of. I mean, actually, my sister's friend was friends with Mike. And, well, my sister was friends with Mike, and she's like, yeah.
Do you remember the day? What happened? We're having a barbecue down in Vancouver at a patio, and we saw this. We thought it was a UFO, so I took a video of it. And she's like, you got to send that video to my brother in Calgary. He's into this stuff. So remember, we sent it to you. It ended up, it was just a plane.
No, but it was a weird plane.
There was a air show in
space.
Abbotsford, and one had come out in it. It's shooting out a bunch of sparkly stuff out the back. It looked like what's that stuff fighter jets put out, at the back.
Flak.
Yeah, but it was right over Vancouver, and I just went on like a trail, like 10 kilometers, across the mountains. I was like, what is that? But yeah, plane.
That's how we met. Yeah.
So you just got a random text from a random dude, and then you guys just started texting?
Well, no, my sister introduced us formally then, and then I went to Vancouver, and we went out for dinner, and we chatted, and it was fantastic. It was just like, I have these meetings with people that I don't know, but they love all the stuff that we talk about, and it's just like you've just met this long-lost friend. I mean, it's fantastic. It's happened to me a few times. I love it.
Did you cry?
I did. Oh, he's so handsome.
Graham. You cried too? Are you a crier too?
Oh, man. Oh, actually, I haven't cried in 20 years, but yeah, it's okay. DMT.
Graham cries a lot.
I do. No, just to music.
Didn't you say you almost cried during the show the other day?
Well, that was different.
It's going to happen. Sometime before episode 1000, we're going to get Dunlop to burst into tears on the podcast.
Just play some drums. Maybe that'll do it.
I might learn how to play the drums just for this.
Stephen Greer?
Yeah, you should be able to do it. On demand.
That's so intense.
So do you think that's authentic?
No.
Because Graham got mad at me because I shut off the documentary when Greer started crying. I was like, he's faking. I can't watch this.
I don't know, but there's something about it.
Seems inauthentic.
Yeah, inauthentic.
Inauthentic crying.
But then again, I don't think it's normal not to cry for 20 years, which is my case. So who knows? There's got to be a healthy balance in there.
Well, I've cried a lot more than the last 20 years, but I haven't ever just, cried during an interview and maybe not taken another take.
You know what makes me cry? I'll tell you what makes me cry.
Drums?
No. Wembley Stadium singing Bohemian Rhapsody.
That was the last time?
Like 50,000 people. Like when I watched it, I think I watched like Queen with my mom, and it was just fucking heart-wrenching.
Like recently?
No, last year probably.
Oh, I was going to say, because it was a recording of an event.
It's a recording. It was a live recording. A live recording. If you played it now,
You'd cry?
50,000 people singing Bohemian Rhapsody, I'd probably fucking cry.
Should I pull it up?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, we won't cry.
So what's new?
Well, I mean, do you want to tell us your sighting like in person?
Sure. Yeah.
Just the one that I talked about
I
it,
got
but
two now.
yeah,
I showed
hasn't-
the other video.
He hasn't stopped talking about
Oh
it.
yeah.
It's been like 4 shows in a row.
Well, because it's so applicable to what's going on. I mean, it's the same thing that these Navy pilots have seen, and you saw it, and you sent me the video, and I got a couple stills from it.
Yeah. When you see the Navy pilot, the picture, the round thing. I mean, I don't know if that's, and mine looks the same, but I think it's just the light. It's just the way the iPhone makes it look. But there was something up there that it looked like it's about 700 feet up.
Like a Tic Tac?
Vancouver. No, it just looked like a balloon catching the light, like flickering. And
Weather balloon.
Yeah. Exactly.
Was it only 700 feet up? You know?
About 700, 800 feet up, maybe. It was a little bit taller than the towers on the other side of the Burrard Bridge here in Vancouver. New ones.
Stay up to the mic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I saw it about from Kitts Point, like near Kitts Beach. So I saw this light flickering in the sky. So of course, I'm going to check it out, right? But I figured in my mind it's a drone or whatever. So I get over there and I keep catching this light. Put my phone up, started taping it. And whenever the light would flare up and it was gone and there was nothing there. There was nothing there catching light. There's just nothing there. And I'm recording it. Happened a whole bunch of times. It would really light up and it would move and then it would disappear. And then it would show up maybe like 200 feet away and it just light up again and it's gone. And there was nothing there. Like I was just, that's all I can say. I took the video.
So that's what really, on the video, I can see it at the bottom and then all of a sudden it appears at the top.
Like it moved at that one spot. It moved about 100 feet in 1/30th of a second.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fast.
I seen the video. Maybe.
I got a API. They do investigational things. They got it right now. They're looking at it. I'm talking to the guy in California a couple times, and so they're working on it. And there's a bunch of them now that I've seen that they put online now. It's the exact same thing. There's flickering light that nobody can see anything. It's moving, going really fast, jumping all over the place. So it's not just me. It's all over. There's probably seen about 5 or 7 of them that look exactly the same thing in the last 3 months.
Wow.
There was a couple in the Isle of Man, I think it was, and then there's some down in the States. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
You know what I heard today? Kind of switching subjects a little bit is Catalina Island was a dumping ground for like 25,000 barrels of DDT.
Oh, crazy! Yeah, I heard there was something under the ocean. Not the Catalina. Are you talking about in the ocean by Catalina? Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's got to be a coincidence where that's supposed to be where the underground base is for the UFOs. I mean, a lot of the UFOs are coming around out of the water around Catalina Island.
Yeah.
Because we mutated a bunch of dolphins.
No, maybe it's just a cover. Like it's not really there, but it'll keep people away or something because there's DDT around the island, so people won't go to the underground base. Like maybe it's not really there.
Interesting spot, Catalina Island. All those supposed giant mummies and stuff there. You've heard of that, right?
No.
Yeah, there's a lot. Look up giants, Catalina Island.
Can we go to Catalina Island?
Yeah, why not?
How will we get there?
California, off the coast of California. Probably a ferry to get there. It's probably pretty easy to get.
But what about the DDT?
Oh, it's just a hoax.
So the ferry doesn't care about the DDT either?
No, nobody cares about the DDT.
Nobody cares?
No, they're just saying on Del Bigtree's show today, they were just talking about how it looks like there was evidence that it was 25,000 barrels of DDT dumped or left around Catalina Island. And I thought, wow, what a coincidence that that's such an infamous UFO island. I
didn't know that.
Didn't know what?
About the UFO island or the DDT.
Yeah, you did. You've been doing the show for 8 years. We've talked about it. We had
all I know about Catalina.
We had the orange orbs.
Catalina wine mixer, bro.
They got Catalina. they got UFO tours there. Like that's what they're set up
really?
for. Yeah, Catalina.
No,
Island. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They got a whole thing set up. Yeah, it's famous.
Well, it was the red orb guy that came on a while ago. That was one of the exiting points that he tracked all the orbs to around Catalina Island.
Ooh, how far down is that? Like down by San Diego?
I think it's north of LA, I think.
I don't mind North California. I have a real hard time with SoCal.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't like it. The whole California experience is weird to me, honestly. They like pull you over and search your car with mirrors and shit on the way in. And it was just like, left a bad taste in my mouth. None of the other states I've ever driven into have done that. And then when I went to camping, I got in trouble for my bear spray because I guess that's illegal in California. And so California's had bad taste in my mouth. Bad taste. Maybe it can make it better. I would like to maybe go visit Ben one day and maybe do a little farther into California. I've never been farther into California than about 20 miles, about 60 miles. And I turned around and came back. Well, maybe we should go there. That reminds me, next week we're going to have the Truzilla guys on the intro. Don't let me forget about that. I told them we would.
Okay.
Further, because they have the big Manifest coming out down in Oregon on the 29th.
The Agrigoragon.
I might want to go to that.
Yeah, me too.
We have our shots. We have our vaccine papers. We have our second shot papers. We can just head down, check out the thing, and come back.
So it looks like Catalina Island is right off of south of LA, kind of right across from Long Beach and Newport Beach and all that. So it's right there.
How far is the ferry ride?
I don't know. But there's a Catalina Flyer ferry. And there's the Catalina Express ferry. There's a couple different ones there.
What they call the Channel Islands, aren't they? That whole chain there.
How far off are they? Can you see them?
I'm not sure. I've never been there. Yeah.
You should call the border guy again and see if they'll let you drive over yet. And if they will, we'll whip down that weekend.
Yeah, so this is to the Oregon thing. How long of a drive do you think it is?
It's going to be about 12 hours, 13 hours.
How far? Maybe you can go down there too. We'll meet you down there.
Yeah. When's this?
Last weekend of July 29th, 30th.
You need fake vaccine papers.
I'm not going down there. I don't even have a passport right now.
You won't need facts. You don't.
I don't even have a passport.
You don't need.
I think we do to get back in.
No. Nobody's
Otherwise
forcing.
You have to quarantine.
No, you just do what Chris Sky does. You don't have to quarantine. You just tell them.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, that part, yeah. Okay. I'm more comfortable in that than giving them fake papers.
I haven't got you out of the country yet. That's why I asked.
I think I'm comfortable from going through the airport and saying, no, I'm not quarantining. I think I'm more comfortable doing that.
But we're going to drive.
What? Well, then you won't even have to worry about it. You just come over and say, if I have to, I test. You have to make sure they're going to let you drive into the States. I don't care about coming back. Oh.
We'll get into the country.
Well, you don't need to vaccinate to go into the States.
But last time you couldn't drive into the States.
That's because the border was closed.
Make sure that you can, so that we don't drive 5 hours and have to turn around.
Yeah,
we'll figure out a way into fucking Canada one way or another.
Yeah, right.
Maybe we'll probably smuggle some drugs. Just kidding. We won't. I'm working on a little secret box though.
Oh my god.
For ivermectin.
And
marijuana. I found this COVID loophole. During COVID, they don't search you. Touch wood.
I don't know where to go from here. This is on our normal show. We're not like
we're not supposed to be talking about COVID.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
this is going to come out on YouTube, and then we're going to get in trouble.
Strike.
We can handle another YouTube strike. Okay,
the other two are off right now. So
all right, let's get into ivermectin. Mike is the guy that's doing the most to not get COVID out of anybody in the world. Tell us your protocol.
So this is good. This is great because I'm the guy who's doing the least in the world to not get COVID. So now we can compare our stories, and so far we're both batting 1,000.
Everything I'm doing is good for everything. You know what I mean? I'm taking ivermectin, N-acetylcysteine, all the vitamins,
all
minerals, everything. Like I've done everything. Nasal sprays.
I was supposed to have ivermectin, but Kyle, I haven't got it in the mail yet.
I got extra tubes if you want them. So
I do. Tubes. He has the pills for me. I don't want to suck on paste. That's weird to me.
Okay.
Are you sucking paste or taking pills?
Oh, paste. Yeah, paste is fine. It's great. They're not going to give $1 million horses bad drugs.
What do you just put it on a cracker or something?
No.
You got to mix it with fat because that makes you absorb it.
So like on some cheese?
Yeah, or yogurt or whatever.
I just put it in. I just go like this on my finger, put it in my mouth, swallow it, then have a couple spoonfuls of yogurt, and that's
good
it.
To go.
So should I be taking ivermectin?
I think ivermectin will be considered an anti-aging drug in the near future.
So I should just be taking ivermectin all the time.
Oh, I'm not recommending anything, but
You winked at me, just for the people who are just listening. Well,
We're not giving any medical
did you
advice
get me
at
an
all.
extra
But
tube?
my nose was. I was sniffly yesterday.
Did you get me an extra tube?
I got an extra tube. My nose was sniffly yesterday.
So Kyle
And I
sends
took
you my pills.
and I took ivermectin and a bunch of vitamin C and vitamin D, and just like because it was sniffly for a while, like like sneezy kind of like I had an allergy almost.
Probably, yeah.
It just went away like that. So I don't know. So what did you think about that Vice article? Did you read that at all? Did you see what they're pushing back against Joe Rogan?
The minute I don't need to read it because I know what it is. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read enough.
Yeah. So you think there's a lot of studies out there showing ivermectin's?
This is the way, honestly, this is the way I look at it. It's not doing you any harm, and it's probably doing a lot of good. I mean, if teenagers can go against their parents' will and get a sex change, or get a experimental jab without their permission, yet an adult can't make a cost-benefit analysis, take a totally safe drug that they give to 4.7 billion people. They can fuck off
with a great success. Like it's one of the most successful drugs over the decades, right?
It's an amazing safe drug. They literally give it to whole countries at a time, and now they're worried about safety.
So I should get on the ivermectin.
Yeah, I'll
try it and see if it. Yeah. I mean, I feel pretty good most of the time. Like, get rid of this food allergy thing, I think I'd be in pretty good shape. But I mean, I got sick less than ever last year.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Which actually gives a little more credence to the germ theory, I suppose.
What about quercetin and zinc and stuff?
It's the same thing. It's not proven, but I take it. But it's good for a million other things, so why not take it right now?
So where would the ivermectin get?
But isn't it close to being proven? Sorry to interrupt.
There's some smaller studies, I think, that have shown some benefit, but there's no massive trials showing that against COVID.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked to naturopathic doctors like Dr. Ayawasca and some others that have had 100% success with vitamin protocols, which include zinc and quercetin.
Yeah.
Because zinc's something I should be getting in my diet, right?
You should.
If I was
you
closer
eat a lot of
to
meat,
source.
What I've heard from you, eat a lot of meat, you're probably getting lots of zinc.
I eat a lot of red meat. Yeah,
I'm sure there's lots in that. What the quercetin does, it draws the zinc into the cell. It's an ionophore. So you need to get the zinc into the cell, and that inhibits viral replication. That's why you're taking the quercetin.
So now does that happen naturally?
It acts like HCQ in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How do I do that naturally?
I'm not sure how you would increase zinc in the cell without.
Because I like to think usually that stuff was more naturally built in, and it's stuff we've fallen away from more so than.
Well, that's why I think vitamins and minerals are important.
You just bought a bunch of dirt to eat, which I think
I didn't
is
buy
kind
it.
of
It got sent to me.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You're going to eat some dirt because there's not enough dirt in your diet. Whereas I think going out in the bush and dragging my meat through the dirt before I eat it is probably getting me some of that dirt.
Well,
so I don't have to supplement dirt into my diet.
I think it's hard to get away from.
I'm obviously not the extreme example because I'm cleaning my meat and everything else. But when we go back, say 500 years, the process of cleaning that meat, or even 200 years, the process of cleaning that meat is way the fuck less. And now that meat's getting dried over a fire, or it's getting smoked or dried, and it's getting thrown in a fucking sack and carried around. So, the levels of cleanliness or hygiene as we view them today, we're fucking nowhere near.
No, I don't think it's that point, though. The point is that we were eating natural food, whatever that was, instead of it being dirty or clean. It was just natural. It wasn't a bunch of fake food. I think we're all struggling with vitamin and mineral deficiencies. No matter how clean you eat, unless you're really, really clean eating, I think we're all susceptible to low levels because of what we're going through. All the chemicals in the air, the chemicals in the water, the bullshit food that we end up eating because...
Skip the dishes.
Yeah, every once in a while or whatever, right? Even being on the carnivore diet, I still ended up eating
I'll know right
stuff.
away because I'm going to get my results from my food test this week. And it's supposed to tell me exactly what foods I have to cut out for 3 months. Before. And then the ones I can get back on once a week and stuff like that. And I feel like that should sort out most of my problems. That really seems like a huge missing.
Do you know what type of allergy test that was?
It was the IgG.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was that the one that they...
It's the one Mr. Ayawasca.
Did they send it to the States?
I don't know where she sent it. It just gets sent right back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is States.
States,
Has to
right?
go to
There's a lab. I
States.
think there's a
Yeah.
really good lab. I
Yeah.
think that's where I got mine. And I was like,
I don't think
garlic
we
and-
have it in Canada yet.
Yeah. It's
I
like
didn't-
IgG, IgE as well. I think they do like 3 of them.
Yeah, there's just 120
2 or 3,
different things or something like that.
Yeah. I got mine done like, it was like almost 10 years ago. And it was like eggs, dairy, wheat, garlic was the worst. All of them were like, I had a lot of reactivity to. But I still eat it all.
Bug it.
Food's my,
Yeah.
sometimes I do good, sometimes not. But if I do like carnivore, which basically is cutting all that out, weight just flies off me. Inflammation goes down, but, I'm weak.
Really?
I like food, yeah.
Oh, you're
I
weak
can't-
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
not from a carnivore diet.
No,
You're just
no,
weak.
no,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I might try the carnivore diet for a while this summer. It's hunting season now. I got fucking loads of meat.
Yeah, but you eat pretty healthy anyways. I mean, I don't know what you're going to end up. You're just going to end up dropping vegetables out of your diet probably and rice.
Well, I eat out more than I should.
yeah.
I tend to eat out more than I should. I could cut back on that. Back on the eat note.
So you had a buddy call you that had COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were telling me about this like long COVID clinic that they have opened up now in Alberta, and they're recommending.
Yeah. No, I guess they didn't give many drugs or anything. They gave him a breathing exercise.
Yeah.
And
that
there's a
sounds-
device they gave him, and I told him a month ago to buy that.
What was the device?
It's a breathing thing, so I think it creates pressure. You blow into it, and it basically trains your lungs. It's like exercise. So basically, I saw the study just came out yesterday, a couple of days ago, and it says it lowered blood pressure as good as exercise and drugs. So I sent him the study, and then he texted me back. He's with the pictures of the device I just gave him on Friday, and he didn't even put the two together. I'm going, that's the thing I told you to buy a month ago. And he's like, you just wasted your time going to Edmonton. Could have been doing this for a month.
They should give him some videos of Wim Hof, and they should tell people
I told him to do
some
that
Wim
too
Hof
already.
breathing,
I don't know what he's up to. He's in Hinton. I'm not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you helped him You helped him with some COVID symptoms and all that. Or?
Yeah, I put him on a bunch of things, and he's doing a lot better.
That's good.
Yeah.
No advice though, but
No advice.
official
I mean,
advice.
I sent him some reading material. No,
Do you do Wim Hof?
no, I've tried it. I don't do anything for very consistently for a long period of time. To be honest.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
pretty
do the Wim
sporadic.
Hof.
He's,
I'm pretty
I mean, he's
sporadic.
tried almost everything sporadically.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't do the Wim Hof either. I probably should. I mean, Brandon tells me I should be doing it every morning.
I
Yeah.
tried
Do my
it
breath work
like
every morning.
for a week, and the very first time I tried it, I noticed I felt good. Like it was a good feeling, and it was amazing how quickly you're able, like your breath, the amount of time you're holding it just keeps it's fast.
Yes,
That fast,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I should
Yeah.
do it. I should do it.
I know, me too. I loved it too when I did
Yeah.
it. It just feels like a lot of work sometimes, and it's just so stupid. Like
It's
all
like
it is
10
some
minutes.
breathing.
I got
know,
so
it's
much
like
free
10 minutes.
time, and I don't do it either.
You got to get back on the exercising first.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I was gonna go play hockey the other night, and I can't. I just couldn't do it.
No?
No.
Even ball hockey?
Yeah. What do you mean even ball?
Ball
hockey?
hockey's, you're a
What do you mean
world
even
champion
ball
ball
hockey?
hockey player.
I'm
You
not
can't
a
even
world.
go
I
back
never
to
won the
Oh,
world.
no, you're a world,
I was in the world.
world runner-up.
No, I wasn't even that close.
No.
we got hammered.
So, well, you've been to the world. You've met some world-class ball hockey players.
I got a couple MVPs in the Nationals, and I actually might have got one in the Worlds. I'm not sure, but I did okay.
You'd be sure if you knew. You'd be sure.
I got congratulated a lot. So good game. I don't know. I was drinking back then. I might have forgotten.
Was there any video of the Prague tournament?
Prague turn? No, I don't think
No?
so. No.
Too bad.
Yeah.
You said you're going to get back into the exercise. Just checking on you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it.
Just
no,
go
I
for
do
a run,
need to,
man.
yeah.
Just go to your house.
Oh, I know.
Just,
I know.
That's the one thing
there's
I
no
do all the
excuse.
time.
Do you?
Yeah,
That's
go
good.
for runs.
Yeah. That's
I live
good.
in Kits, so the beach is right. It's nice,
Oh,
right? Just-
I
Yeah, we don't have a
run all the
beach. We have a
time.
shitty fucking concrete jungle to run around. It's been hot. I'm not much of a runner. I wish I could swim more. I should swim more. I guess I could just go jump off the fucking dock down there and get hit by a boat. That'd be
Yeah.
the problem, is you get hit by a fucking boat. I'd like to have a pool one day.
Yeah.
The pools are all still closed. Actually, no, the pools might be open now. By appointment only.
How's Vancouver doing for that?
I don't even know. I mean, I just go to work, I go home, I go for walks on the beach, and I don't really.
Yeah.
It's busy. I mean, honestly, it was kind of a joke because they had all the patios open, and when that was going on, but you weren't allowed in the restaurant, so now everybody was on the sidewalks because all the restaurants are putting outside, and everybody's packed on the sidewalks, all going down the street. Right? It was like everything's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right on. Anything else?
That's been part of the problem is having the restaurants back. Is I've been overcompensating for all the time I haven't been able to go out.
Yeah.
Because I like to eat out. I mean, I just like to get out in that environment.
I don't want to eat at home either. I live in Kitts. I just walk out the door. There's 100 restaurants right there, and I'm just going. I rarely cook ever.
Well, I cook a lot when I have my kids. We'll go out once in a while, but usually when I have my kids, I cook. But then the rest of the time, it's just me and the girlfriend. And, it seems like a lot to cook for, just go out. Especially if it's just me.
Yeah.
And especially lunch. Lunches are meant to be out.
Yeah.
I feel like.
There's no point in me buying groceries because I throw them out. I go in, like I buy vegetables and stuff, and they get thrown out. I never eat them.
I don't have the jingle board. What, do you have a quote or anything?
No, I was just thinking we'll just do, with Mike, and that'll be our intro. I didn't prepare a lot of other stuff because I figured we got Mike here.
I mean, you're only podcasting full time. We can't expect him to prepare.
Yeah. I had this vision of you just struggling, and here you are, you're just half asleep over there.
Grinding it out, fucking papers all over.
You better get back to work.
Enjoy the chat with Amber and Anthony.
We've got Amber and Anthony, owners of Awaken Your Soul, which is a holistic Iboga retreat in Costa Rica. Actually, I probably said that wrong. Iboga? How do you say it?
Did you say Costa Rica wrong too?
Anyway, in Gabon, the indigenous people say Iboga.
Iboga, right.
Iboga. Yeah.
I always pronounce things wrong right at the intro, so
Right.
it's my nerves or something popping through. So yeah, like we were talking about before we started recording, I've heard of Iboga through the addiction kind of thing. We've talked about addiction, and I've been in recovery myself for a while, and I thought it was fascinating what's happening with that, but I haven't really dug too deep into it, like the stuff that you guys are doing at your retreat. So I don't know where would you like to start? Give some context on how you guys started this retreat up, or where would you like to start?
Maybe we can give a little bit of context around what Iboga is.
Yeah, let's do that.
And sort of go from there. So, a lot of people more recently in the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years, maybe a little bit more than that, are becoming a lot more aware of the power of psychedelic medicines or psychedelics as a medicine, as opposed to, a drug or something to use just to have a good time, which is certainly what I did in my younger life in high school, using psychedelics as a party and a way to escape, which is kind of ironic because actually psychedelics take you into the depth of yourself, especially when used in the right context. And so it's not a departure. It's not a party, and certainly not addictive in any way, because it does push you to look at what's happening within you, which can be extremely uncomfortable for probably everyone. So, one of the more well-known psychedelics or a couple of them in terms of therapeutic reasons would be psilocybin and ayahuasca. Of course, there's a lot of other ones, but Iboga has been known most historically in the addiction realm, also with detox, not only because it does have a tendency to interrupt addictive patterns, but also it interrupts the opiate receptors for opiate addicts. And it has, a lot of physiological detox benefits with other drugs or pharmaceuticals. Some are contraindicated, but specifically with opiates, it blocks the opiate receptor. And if we're curious, Anthony, you can speak a bit more on that. But in the perspective that we use this medicine in Awaken Your Soul, and by the way, it does hail from West Africa, in the equatorial line, primarily from Gabon, the parts of the Congo and Cameroon. And so the Bwiti are part of the Iboga tradition there. It's multiple tribes that use Iboga as their teacher. It's the study of life. And so the Bwiti Bwitists are people that follow Iboga as their teacher, sort of their North Star. And so they have used it to study life inside of them for centuries, hundreds, if not thousands of years. There's no real hard written data on that. And then the way that we use this medicine in Awaken Your Soul is to study life within us for people from all walks of life, people that are, struggling with addictive behaviors, no one that is detoxing, but struggling with addictive behaviors, and, people that have very significant trauma, PTSD, and also just people who are looking to understand themselves on a deeper level and up level their life experience. And so it really is applicable to not everyone, because this is not the right medicine for everyone, but I would say anyone in any type of, category in terms of life experience. There's no one that it's not, no one that it's not right for in terms of what they're working with, unless they have very severe psychological considerations. But yeah, and again, it's not a medicine for everyone. This is a very, very intense commitment to make. And so, we don't say, oh, Iboga, everybody should take Iboga. That's just not the case, but it is really great for a wide range of people. So
what's the commitment like?
Yeah, I'm sorry?
What's the commitment? Is it like,
yes,
it's a commitment.
a couple days or
a week? I think it's a week.
Is it a week or is it the drug or is it the medicine itself that's a commitment? Is it like, like I would look at LSD as being a bit of a commitment. Even psilocybin's a commitment to a lesser extent. You need to have your evening free.
Oh, you mean like that?
I can hammer through some DMT on my lunch break, maybe they say, but your afternoon's going to be fucked up,
Right.
while you're sort of reintegrating all of that. So I'm just wondering what the time commitment and the sort of, what does it compare to on an intensity level?
Yeah. You want to take that one?
Yes, I do. So sorry about that. Well, first off, let me just rewind a little bit and just comment on what Amber was saying about the medicine being its home, growing naturally in equatorial Africa, and the discovery of the medicine was deep in the jungle hundreds of years ago. And the Bwiti are the people that practice with Iboga, and as Amber was saying, they use it to study life, to connect to nature, to connect to ancestors, to connect to spirits, to get information and wisdom through all five senses or six senses, including the third eye. And they use this medicine to go within and to understand all of their life, like everything inside of them, and then life around them. And so, they're not using it for, opiate addiction. And so they're using it for spiritual growth and psychological growth, emotional growth, physical healing. And it was around the 70s when Howard Lutzoff discovered the alkaloid of ibogaine, and he was a heroin addict, and he did a self-imposed detox. And from that moment in the 70s is when ibogaine started spreading a bit. And then recently, in the last probably 10, 15 years, more and more people in the West started becoming aware of it. And so fast forward a little bit to answer your question about the commitment. From my experience, the commitment starts when the medicine calls, right? There's like this calling that happens with these plants. And speaking specifically of Iboga, in my experience, like the medicine called me, and from that moment, it felt like a commitment, because energy was moving. I was starting to become aware of some things that were laying dormant. Things started shifting. I was getting excited, but also nervous. And I knew I was about to embark on something really profound and really deep, and probably going to be a bit uncomfortable because, when we face our darkest demons, so to speak, a lot of our blind spots is when things can get uncomfortable. And so I think it starts before, and then of course a person decides to make the commitment if they really follow that call. And sometimes people, their ego and their fear gets in the way and starts creating doubt on whether they should come and experience this medicine. Is it going to work? Is it going to be scary? Am I going to come out alive? And all of those things, go through people's mind. And then, some people follow the call. Some people get psyched out and then maybe come a later date or maybe never come. And then when they decide to come, they're with us for 7 nights. 7 nights, 8 days. They arrive on day 1. They depart on day 8. And there's a ceremony on night 2 and another ceremony on night 5, a spiritual shower in the middle, like on day 4, and that's a cleansing ceremony that we've learned from the indigenous people. And so, it's a really powerful week, and 2 ceremonies with Iboga is plenty. If you look at Ayahuasca, for example, a lot of these retreats have, 3 and 4 ceremonies in a 7-night period. There's just no way, man. With Iboga, it stays with you longer. The ceremony is longer than other medicines, and the medicine just stays in the body and works you a bit longer. And as well as, when you return home, we like to say that, 20-25% of the work happens here with us at Awaken Your Soul in Costa Rica. And then the integration is where it's at. I mean, Amber and I are huge advocates of integration. We've been working with plant medicine for 11 years, Iboga 8 years specifically. And we have integration support around us. We have different coaches, we have different healers.
That we use for ourselves.
Yeah.
As well as recommend for our guests, but specifically for ourselves.
Exactly. Because that is a huge commitment, returning home and allowing the medicine to continue to work and start implementing and taking action from the wisdom and the information that you received while you're here, and then the information that you're going to continue to receive, because we found out through our own practice and witnessing hundreds of people over the last 8 years that medicine keeps working for months and months after people return home. Like, it's in the body. I can't say specifically how long it's in there. Some of my friends are in the science arena, and they say some of the studies will say that the medicine's in the body for up to 6 months. And so
from a physiological perspective, but some of the insights continue coming.
Right.
Sometimes even for years, you can have an experience where you get a download like, oh, that's what the medicine was teaching me. And it just takes some time to be able to really see what's coming up. Yeah. And so, it's a commitment, for sure, but it's a beautiful commitment. I mean, it's not, it's a stronger medicine in terms of the lasting effects in the body, that we take the medicine, around 10 o'clock at night. And then, well into the next day is when, I don't know if you guys can hear this. We've got some crazy grass cutting around. Can you hear it?
a little bit when it goes around. It should be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like he's moving away. Let us know if it gets loud. We're preparing for a retreat tomorrow. So anyway, yeah. So taking the medicine at 9:00, and then people still sometimes feel the effects the following night. It's an arc though, so the intensity of the medicine, is usually done within 4 to 6 hours during the ceremony. Obviously, it depends for every person, like how much they're taking, etc. But
maybe like 4 to 8 hours the intensity could be, and the intensity, I guess, to try to simplify that, typically the intensity is coming because somebody's at resistance, right? And if you're at resistance and the medicine's showing you something, sharing something with you that is making you uncomfortable and you're not ready to fully accept it, this is where it can get uncomfortable and intense. Yeah. But of course, we're there throughout the whole evening in the ceremony, and we really could feel the energy, and we're checking in on everybody to see how they're doing. And, if somebody's having a cathartic process or, an intense process, we're able to, softly hold space for them and just kind of walk them through it. And like, what are you seeing? What's coming up for you? What's the medicine showing you? And typically it's stuff in the childhood, trauma, sexual abuse, physical abuse, some sort of grieving process.
How navigable is the space?
How what is it?
How navigable is the space?
Yeah, like how
like psilocybin I find somewhat navigable depending on dosage. LSD is, kind of navigable in the morning or the next, at the tail end of it. The beginning of it is kind of intense. And then like DMT, there's no navigation.
Right.
Zero.
Yeah, you're 0 to 10,000 in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Shot out of a can.
And then, but then you're back and it's gone, and they say it's out of your system within 30 minutes completely. But I find even the reintegration period on that was probably closer to 2 or 3 months.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it a strange integration period because you don't know what the fuck happened.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's a really good question. And Iboga is you can navigate with Iboga. And part of this psycho-spiritual journey that we do here in the West, that we've learned from the indigenous people, they've taught us how to do it, is myself or Amber working with each individual for a half hour to an hour and a half and guiding them in the process. So like taking them back to their childhood, of 6 months old, 1 year old, 3 years old.
Even out of the birth canal sometimes.
Even out of the birth canal and bringing him through a process into adulthood. And Iboga is very interactive. So even without us, oftentimes people go and like see their essence, their spirit, their soul, and they're having this interaction with their inner being, as well as having this interaction with the spirit of the medicine. Iboga is extremely interactive. If you get in there, meaning that if it's not like detoxifying you, because there's a detox process, and if you're in the quote unquote spirit world where you're just in that zone, then you literally can say to Iboga, okay, take me to 3 years old. Boom. Take me to that car accident when I was 20. Boom. Like you can go to these specific places and like sort of like watch a movie if you're in that realm. It's quite incredible.
And it's not, of course, always that way, but that is the general vibration of how this medicine works. We had many people in this retreat that ended a couple of days ago that were in that space, and then some that were all over the place because there really was a very targeted mental, emotional, and physical detoxification going on. It's not only a physical detox, like sometimes it's just purging the mind of everything that's been stored in there and shoved down for many, many, many years, decades even. And so sometimes it can be quite chaotic. And even when we try to guide someone, we're getting some answers, but it's not as fluid. That's not to say that next time they take the medicine, it won't be what Anthony described. We just never know. But typically we find that, at any given point, someone will have a variation of those, 2 different experiences. Sometimes it's so physical and all you're doing is purging physically, whereas that doesn't necessarily seem like it's as productive, but you can move an enormous amount of energy and create an enormous amount of space just with a physical purge. When I went and did my initiation in Gabon, for me, it was nothing but a physical purge. And I I was pregnant at the time unknowingly. And we have a beautiful, almost 2-year-old, extremely healthy, wise, astute, smart daughter who was, in my body, the sickest I've ever been in my life. And I really had absolutely no idea what transpired on a spiritual level for me, like what I learned, what I received. I had no clue until actually months later. So speaking back again to the level of commitment, I didn't start to really understand what was happening there for me until quite a bit later. And so, thinking, that the physical part was just, it's just a purge, I'm just feeling ill. There's so much more happening that we can't quite put our finger on, our logical 3-dimensional mind. But that element is just as important as the true connection in the spirit realm.
After reading about it on your website, it seems like it's fascinating to me from a cognitive or spiritual perspective, but it seems more like I haven't done ayahuasca. I haven't done any psychedelics for, 15 years probably or something like that. But it seems more cognitive, like more of a therapeutic thing than ayahuasca would be. Ayahuasca seems more sort of chaotic and intense from what I've learned about it. This seems more like mindful or cognitive, which sort of fits in with the Bwiti part where they seem to use this in that way, like in a way where they teach themselves to rely on experience and their senses instead of like fear and unknown. It seems very, very grounded in this cognitive, mindful thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Iboga in the ceremony at times can be chaotic, and from what we've learned and experienced, it's like the medicine just shaking things up and releasing energy, especially the mind, like, all of the programming and conditioning and all of the people that we've seen, all the experience. It's a computer, the mind. And so the medicine is a mind medicine, central nervous system medicine. And so it really likes to go in there and create chaos to release. That's a part of it. But to your point, this medicine, in comparison to ayahuasca feels like it takes you out more, and yes, can be chaotic and confusing and kind of tricky. Whereas Iboga, it likes to be very clear on teaching us how to recognize who we are and how we think, how we feel, what are our habitual behaviors, what are our patterning, what's the program, what's the conditioning, what's the story, what's the belief system. And it's really fascinating. And then to your point about the Bwiti, experiencing life to know life, that's a core teaching of this medicine, that you reading spirituality in a book, okay, fine, but you're not living it. And in order to have experience, in order to know something, you have to go through the experience, and the medicine will teach that over and over again, to go through the experience for you to know what it is that, you've just experienced. And it's quite fascinating how Iboga works, and it is the root of the tree. So to what you said about being very grounded, it's an extremely grounding medicine that puts you in your body and forces you to be present or teaches you to be present.
It seems super applicable in a time when we're distracted by our phones and everything that's going on in the world that may or may not affect us, and all these fears may be unfounded or just from childhood experiences or whatever. It just feels like it's very applicable to...
None of the psychedelics want you on your phone. I mean, it's super clear. Right. Just try and use your phone when you're on anything. And it's like, good luck. I can even just be on 2 grams of mushrooms and I pick up this thing, and I literally, if you sent me a text, I can't read it. I could but I gotta okay, wait a second. I gotta collect this whole thing. We've got to focus it in because it's impossible to read. It's just, it makes me wonder, because in the West, we kind of do this. You guys can probably speak to it a little more, but I'm not doing DMT, more than once a year, if that. And the mushrooms are very spread out as well. But these indigenous people are doing these ceremonies, annually, biannually, quarterly, however they're doing it. But they've got this level of saturation, maybe that makes me wonder if you're doing this ritual a few times a year, are you like, it's got to keep your headspace in a different space from just like that same mindfulness perspective. You're always there. You're not kind of, it's never far away.
Right.
It's part of the lifestyle as opposed to an event.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Gabon, they go through initiations, right, where they take a large amount of Iboga, right? And there's typically like 5 levels of initiation in these traditions. And if they're not doing an initiation, which let's say they did 5 in their entire life, they're taking small amounts of the medicine in different types of ceremonies. So they have many, many different types of ceremonies. If somebody dies, they have a ceremony for that. If they need protection, they have a ceremony for that. If they're looking to connect to the ancestors, they have a ceremony for that. They have welcome ceremonies when we arrive. And I noticed that, it was like my 3rd trip, and I noticed, I'm like, man, these guys are not even, they're dancing, there's fire going everywhere, they're sweating, they're hammering the drums, they're singing, they're playing instruments. I'm like, how are they doing this on large amounts of medicine? Well, they're not. They're not taking large amounts of medicine. They're taking small amounts, similar to what we do in the ceremonies. We take small amounts to connect, and of course, to be stimulated to stay up all night with our gas. Yeah.
Let me speak to that as well. That one thing to be very mindful of in the realm of using psychedelics as as a medicine and as a way to learn more about ourselves and to support our overall life experience is that it is not a crutch. It is not something that should be. They are not things that should be used as an answer to our problems, right? Like, I think there's a lot of misuse going on out there in the surge in psychedelics is that, you go into ceremony once a week, or, we lived in an ayahuasca community in, 2010, 2011. And, the mentality was like, oh, the more you drink, the better. And I just never really felt that way. And the more I grow along this path and the more, we work with people and work with ourselves is that the whole point is integrating what you're learning. The point is not the actual ceremony. And of course, there is, a lot of the information comes in during the ceremony with Iboga and Ayahuasca, that, it continues, but especially with Iboga there, the wisdom continues to come as we go home and back into our lives and get confronted with our relationship with our mother, for example, or our relationship with alcohol, or, just seeing things in a different light. But really, where the work comes in is how you integrate the teachings into your everyday. And so continuing to rely on these medicines to heal you and fix you and do the work for you is not only does it not work, but it's also incredibly irreverent to the medicines. So, as practitioners here, lately, I would say, we're overall, of course, I've been pregnant and, having a small person for the last almost 3 years. I've probably done 4 or 5 ceremonies specifically for myself, in addition to the, micro macro doses that we take during the ceremony. So, we have some guests that come, they'll experience a week completely transformational, and then we won't see them again for a couple of years. We've had some that have come back, 3 times in a year and a half or so. And so, they go home, they implement the teachings, they integrate, and then they come back to up level. Some people never do it again. But it's really, really important to know that it's not a crutch. And it does not do the work for you. It absolutely, helps to repair the central nervous system. It works on the neurotransmitters. It sweeps the corners away. Like, you'll find that some behaviors just don't show up anymore. And then there's there's a lot of heavy lifting to do. The medicine can show us something, but we actually have to do the work. We have to choose to behave differently. And if we're always like, oh, my life is chaotic, I have to go do more medicine, you're missing the point.
Right.
So, in terms of the Bwiti, they also have jobs and lives in the city as well. They're, probably not just sitting around in the temple all day, every day eating medicine. I mean, I'm sure there's certain times in their lives when they're taking more than others, but they also just operate as, quote, normal human beings, and the beautiful thing about this medicine is that you don't need to take it a lot. You can't really, to get, the maximum benefits. And it's one of the reasons it's so laughable that it's a Schedule I narcotic in the United States, because, that says that it is highly addictive, which I challenge anyone to take this medicine and have the desire to really take, that kind of insatiable desire to take it. You might want to take it again to learn, but you're not doing it because oh, that was a great time. And it can be really fun as well. It can be very blissful. It can be very loving. It can be very, euphoric, but the overarching theme is to look at your shit. So that's not something that people are like, oh yes, I want to go do that again, tomorrow. It has no medical benefit, which is a complete and total untruth, and that it's highly dangerous. And so, it's just not something that belongs in that category on many levels. But
do people come to physical heal as well? Is there physical healing that can?
Yes. We have somebody coming on Monday that has ALS. He's my age, 45. We haven't met him yet. We've been talking with him, and I'm really fascinated to see how that works for him.
Yeah.
People come with, Candida, Lyme disease,
Parkinson's, tumors, cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if, we are strong believers that our biography becomes our biology, so that, the issues are in your tissues, as one of my girlfriends loves to say, so that, the story of our lives is what creates the dis-ease within our physical body, because our trauma and our stress is unaddressed. And so we have seen people have a massive, massive turnaround in terms of whatever their physical ailments are when they address the root cause, which is, as far as I'm concerned, 10 times out of 10. I mean, I'm obviously not a doctor or a scientist, and, I'm certainly not giving anybody medical advice, but that, when we can get to the root, and the medicine will tell us the root. If we're unsure what has caused something, it will tell us. And once we begin to work on those elements of our past, our emotional disease, then that physical disease starts to heal. And one of our facilitators actually very specifically in a guided journey with me discovered that she had tumors in her ovaries.
Wow.
Her womb. Yeah. And did nothing to heal it conventionally, just worked with the medicine, worked with affirmations, worked on changing her diet. And slowly the tumors actually moved outside. And by the time she got a second ultrasound, they were very, very small, and they were outside of her womb. So, I mean, it's absolutely possible to receive some really massive physical healing from this medicine.
And it's a root, right? It's a root that gets you to the root.
Yeah, exactly.
Basi.
Basi is truth in Bwiti. It's like a hell yeah.
Basse. Speaking of physical, it just made me think that I've just connected with a research company, a data company that is now working in the psychedelic arena, and they connected with us because they want to follow us and follow our guests. And I think that that's amazing. There's going to be more and more of that. And, we're probably going to get 160 people through here. And that's a, good amount of people, to accumulate data on, how are they doing before? How did they do here? And then what is the integration process? And especially somebody with ALS, somebody with Lyme, somebody with Candida, somebody with really severe trauma. This is really valuable information to get out to the masses to really prove that these medicines work. Yeah.
What's What's the difference between what you guys do for somebody that's not in active addiction, but is maybe had like a little bit of clean time, but wants to address their addiction, and the places in, say, Mexico that have a detox from addiction as part of their program, like, or is that something that you guys will do in the future, or how what's the difference there between those phases of addiction and how you help people?
Yeah. So first of all, the clinics that are physically detoxing people, like Mexico, Portugal, right? Those clinics, they're using ibogaine, which ibogaine is the prominent alkaloid in the full natural iboga wood, the bark, right? So one of those alkaloids is ibogaine. I think it makes up like 30 to 40% of the alkaloids. And then there's another 10, 12, or 13. Some are saying more, right? Other healing alkaloids, healing properties. And so in the clinics, they're just using this isolated alkaloid because that specific one gives a physical scrub as well as blocks the opiate receptors in the brain. And they're also, I feel, I haven't visited them, but they're using this because they don't have a relationship with the full root. In my training 8 years ago, I was at a facility where we were detoxing people from opiates, from kratom, methamphetamine, cocaine, and we were using the full natural root, and it was working. So I witnessed it, and the people that were there, like myself, we had relationships with it. So not only were we detoxing them, but we were on the other side with them in the psychospiritual realm or cognitive realm to be able to really walk them through what they just went through and what they're struggling with.
But speak to the sustainability and the ability to synthesize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I'm an advocate. I think the clinics that are using ibogaine and they have their heart in the right place and their intentions in the right place, I'm all for it. The ones that don't, obviously, I'm not for that. And I think that for the sustainability of iboga, if you could use ibogaine, or there's another root called volcunga. And then there's laboratories trying to synthesize it and mimic the ibogaine alkaloid. If they can do that and take less pressure off the sustainability of the wood, yes. And that's the way we have to go, because there's just not enough medicine to be able to treat all of the
to handle the opiate crisis.
There's just not.
Yeah, exactly. There'll never be enough for that.
We're in trouble, and so the more people catch on, the more the sustainability is going to become an issue.
Yeah, there's a beautiful organization, Blessings of the Forest in Gabon. A gentleman by the name of Jan started it, and we're helping to support them. We're trying to find other ways to raise money because they're growing as much iboga as they can. They are going into villages and getting them jobs to grow the medicine. And we want to be able to take care of the indigenous people as much as we can and take care of the sustainability of the medicine as much as we can. And so here we do work with people that have struggled with addiction, but they've already been detoxed.
Yeah.
And it just depends. I'm open to taking somebody, 5-6 weeks after their ibogaine detox. It just depends on where they are, what part of their journey are they in? Are they just looking at themselves for the first time? Because if that's the case, maybe I want to wait a little bit longer, hook them up with a preparation coach, an integration coach, and then get them here. Because we have the ability to work with people with addiction. I've struggled, a lot in my life with addiction, and so we have the ability to do it. We just want to make sure when people come here that they are not in any type of withdrawal, or they're not completely on the edge, right? We want to be mindful that we're working with people that are really ready for this experience.
Mm-hmm. So I'll jump in here and just speak to how we work with people that are working with compulsive behaviors. I like to move away from this stigma of addiction, because it has such a negative context in our culture that once an addict, always an addict, and that there's really not a whole lot of way to break out of that box. So, one of the ways that we approach the addiction is really helping people understand that their addiction served a really, really vital purpose in their lives. You know, it was a survival coping mechanism that's brilliant, actually. And Dr. Gabor Mate speaks about this. He's one of the front runners in the realm of addiction. He's a physician of Hungarian descent, but, you know, spent a good portion of his career in Canada working in the east side of Vancouver, working with very, very hardcore addicts. And he speaks a lot to addiction now in his books, and really just all over the world. He actually just had a movie come out called The Wisdom of Trauma that is out, available for download right now on the internet, that I think until the end of today, or no, the end of Sunday, tomorrow. Yeah. You know, and he speaks about the addiction being such an incredible coping mechanism and such an incredible tool to save your life, right? People are looking for a way to feel better in response to the lack of love and connection and attachment that they received as little people. And, you know, one of the most brilliant moments in this film is seeing, I don't know, maybe 100 inmates standing in this circle outside, and there's someone in the center saying, you know, if you received, you know, physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, step forward. And they would take one step forward. If you received, you know, if you never knew where your next meal was coming from, or you never knew who was going to take care of you, step forward. And so you see everyone in this circle has this type of foundation in their lives, you know, and these are very serious, you know, addictions, traumas, you know, they're perpetrating crimes. And of course, there's many variances of that, you know, speaking to yourself, or, you know, Anthony, or, you know, even just myself, who has, you know, some behavior like control issues, which could be considered an addiction, right? I mean, addiction is, you know, it's got a very wide scope. And so helping people understand that their addiction was actually a magical approach to survival. And a lot of people would actually probably not be sitting here today if they had not discovered that way to fill the holes in their lives, the holes in their heart, for not having the type of love and attachment that they had when they were young, that they desperately needed from their caregivers who didn't know any better themselves, that of course are carrying their own trauma. I mean, it goes down the family line, you know, and this stuff, they talk about it being inherited. It's inherited through behaviors. It's inherited in the cells of the body. You know, what comes up in the Great Depression and from, you know, the response to the Holocaust, like that is still getting passed down because the behaviors and the feelings and the trauma is still within people. So they can't behave in a different way because they don't know a different way. And so helping people understand why they became addicted, what they were trying to fulfill, what they were running away from, what they needed. And then also that they have the foundation to like really look within themselves. Like, you know, the name of this movie is The Wisdom of Trauma. You know, we are of the belief that the trauma that we are impacted by is such a powerful, powerful springboard for self-inquiry. And I wouldn't take away any of my trauma to not know what I feel like I know today, and know in the sense of like just a deep knowing within me. I don't really know jack shit. I'm, you know, 44 years old, and I'm always astounded by how little I know. But I feel like the more I know, the less I know, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's it. That's how I feel here. 100%. Yeah. The more I learn, the less I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think the important thing to know is who we are on, you know, from within. And that's really what I think addiction is calling for. It's screaming to us to find our own peace and equanimity from within us, because God knows the outside world is totally chaotic. And oftentimes we don't get the type of nurturing that we need from our families. And so it's our responsibility to find that from within ourselves. And I think addiction is calling for that. I think it's a big red flag. And, you know, I can't tell you how many times we are able to see people connect to the power of the wisdom of their addiction and the beauty of their own spirit, and knowing that all of it was completely perfect. And that's what Iboga wants to do, is to teach us how wonderful we are and how important that self-love is, and how we can really trust the essence of this whole life process, because it all has its purpose. So just circling back to the original question of how do we work with people, in addictive behaviors, or that are looking to heal from that, we show them their light. We help them see their light. The medicine does it. Like, we're not the healers. We're not responsible, but we help to support them to open that doorway so the medicine can get in and really just exemplify their own inner beauty.
So speaking of intergenerational trauma, have you ever gone back further than the womb?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've had people that come, knowing how deeply their ancestral line is traumatized. And they, one woman in particular that I use as an example a lot, because she was such a classic, it was such a classic thing to witness. She was, coming from the line of Genghis Khan, and just had, even all of the women in her family had the same physical ailment. I don't remember what it was. But her mother had it, her grandmother had it, her aunts had it. And she spent both of the ceremonies going back into her ancestral line and cleaning. And she had a very, very, very volatile relationship with her mother. And her mother was actually seemingly like some borderline personality disorder or something. And ever since this woman left and returned home, and her mother was actually like her business partner, she has not had a single issue with her mother. Like, her mother has completely shifted.
It's incredible.
Just by her cleaning.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happens over and over and over again, where people, are clearing what they were handed from their parents, but then also knowing what their parents' pain was.
Exactly.
And then the whole family starts to shift. I mean, it's, it's not a magic pill. It's not going to clear and clean everything, but it absolutely makes an impact for sure.
Do you have any more questions on that vein, Darren? Or what about the actual process of, like, I think you guys use music and traditional music and the process of, like, do you drink it? Is it similar to ayahuasca in that way, that how it's sort of mixed and prepared?
It's so
like a little bit more about the ceremony.
Yeah, we use the natural bark. So we get it from the indigenous people in like wood chips, and so then I put it in a coffee grinder and grind it up, and so we give spoonfuls of that, 1, 2, 3, whatever people's tolerance is. And then I also do a very mild extraction to extract the alkaloids out of the bark by using vinegar. That's it. And I go through this extraction process and then dry everything out, get all the alkaloids out of the bark. And then I put that into a pill form, and we call that the TA, the total alkaloid. And so we have that in the tool belt as well.
So that sounds super similar to the DMT making process.
Yeah, I don't know much about the DMT process, but yeah, it's just.
Well, we just take that same root, boil it down in that water, and then some people drink the water and have the ayahuasca experience, or you dry it out and then you end up with the white powder.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So those are the two ways that we administer. We don't make a tea just because I think you might waste a bit. I mean, I've drank the tea in Gabon, but it seems like I got to use a lot of root bark, and I don't want to do that because obviously it's very sacred and
hard to get,
very hard to get. And so those are the two ways that we administer it. And people, everybody's tolerance is different. I mean, somebody could take 1 dose and that's it, and somebody could take 6, 7. Everybody's different. And then sometimes you get people that just you could really lean into them because they come really open. They've done a lot of work on themselves. They've worked with other psychedelics, and they're just like, I want to go as deep as I can. And if me and Amber as practitioners, we feel very safe with someone like that, then we could really lean into them, because I'm not afraid to give somebody, a good amount of medicine if that's what they need or if that's what they want. And so, yes, we start around a fire, which is right outside the temple. We light the fire. We're in, sitting in chairs. We open the ceremony space. We bless the space. We protect the space. Give thanks to the medicine, and the nature and everything that we have here. And then we start administering the medicine. Then we share some teachings and wisdom of the tradition, some teachings, of course, of the medicine. And the whole time we have the traditional music going on in the background. And at some point, people are going to start feeling the medicine after I come around and give them a second dose. And then the temple area has mattresses already laid out. People already have their beds at the beginning of the ceremony before the fire. And they spend the rest of the evening here on the mattress with the blindfold on, going within. And the music is going. We have shakers. We have water buffalo horns, different instruments, and dancing and fire. And yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, and the music is some of it is live recorded in the village by a good friend of ours. Some of it is from other villages that is just circulating around the community. Like in a lot of ayahuasca circles, people are playing live music, and unless you have a Bwiti band, their instruments are incredibly difficult to play. And we're not quite at that caliber yet, but it is a very interactive ceremony, and the recordings are really amazing. Iboga has a very strong influence on the auditory senses, and so the quality of the speaker and the quality of the technology of the music has a very clear technology around how it works with the brain. It scrubs the brain. It loosens. The vibration is very unique, so it's loosening things within you. It also helps to keep your heart rate stable, which Iboga can be difficult. It's strenuous on the heart. If you have no heart problems, it's absolutely 10,000% safe. But people that have heart issues, it's not. It's definitely contraindicated to work with Iboga. But the tempo of the music helps to keep the heart rate steady. It has a very specific wisdom within the context of the ceremony, but we're not there yet to play the magongo, which is a mouth bow. It's a very unique instrument and extremely hard to play, but our recordings are awesome, and we have a great speaker. Yeah, we have a great speaker. We have other sounds that we use, like their shakers and rattles and stuff, and like the horn I mentioned. And everyone that comes here and experiences the ceremony, they feel and maybe see at times like the Gabonese tribe, the Bwiti people hear, and they think the music is live.
Yeah. I can imagine that. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about the location and your retreat, the actual space there?
Yeah. We are about an hour and 15 minutes west of San Jose in Costa Rica, and we're in the mountains. So
Jungle Mountains.
Yeah, Jungle Mountains. It's actually a beautiful property that was purchased by a Spanish family about 25 years ago, and they reforested the whole thing. It's a bird sanctuary. I mean, it's really one of the most incredible spaces. The land itself has its own medicine, its own vibration. We have a huge natural fed acre-size swimming pool that comes from the two of the 4 streams on the property. We have 5 houses and 2 casitas, which are, individual standing rooms with bathrooms. And, our common area is in one of the kitchens and terraces of the main house. And yeah, we live right on property here in the midst of it. And
it's 13 bedrooms, 9 bath. Me, Luna, and Amber occupy 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. And this place, we've been to a lot of retreats in Costa Rica and
in the world, really.
This place, and not because we rented and we're here, but truly because it's 90 acres, it's big, and it's in the middle of the jungle and mountains. There's absolutely no distraction. The nearest beach is an hour away. The nearest town is 20 minutes away. So it really forces people. This is a retreat environment. Like, we were looking all over the coast, a few years ago, trying to turn somebody's, vacation home into a retreat, and it wasn't working. And so this environment is like, the medicine just loves the vibration here. And it really forces people to walk around barefoot, be in nature, be with themselves. And put the phones down and really, immerse yourself into this retreat experience.
Oh, I was watching a couple of your videos, and I could not believe the birds in the background. I mean, it felt like you're in the middle of a beautiful, forest jungle environment. I mean,
Yeah, it's the 5 a.m. wake up call, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we have found after being in this property, I mean, we did quite a bit of work with Iboga before finding this space, that people's recovery is exponentially faster being in this vibration. And so, that's one thing that is important to note, I think, is that this medicine really wants to return us back to nature, as does ayahuasca, DMT, the bufo, like the whole concept of these medicines is to return us back to the state that we've been so disconnected from, with the, we're talking about the phones and technology and the trauma and, that we receive as young people is separating us from that wholeness. And, how many people haven't put their feet in the grass in so long, they're living in a concrete jungle. They don't even understand the connection to nature. And so being in this container really is such a powerful part of the process. And, some people are able to heal their pain and trauma just by spending time in nature. And that's the whole idea of the plant, is like to put the plant in you so that it can help move you back to that natural state. And some people, can do that for themselves. They go on a walkabout in the woods for 6 months. The whole point is to be in that space with the vibration. We are nature, we're not separate, and we have separated ourselves, year by year by year, as technology advances, we're that much more, we're connected to people all over the world, but we're that much more disconnected from our environments. And so being here in this space. Yeah. And so Anthony was just mentioning the holistic process, and at this point we can probably close unless you guys have any other questions.
Yeah, I just have one, maybe before you get into that, I just have one question about sort of the message. Did the Bwiti get messages from how you hear the ayahuasca thing where the plants told them what to do and how to make the ayahuasca, and then there's the archetype of the the dragon or the mother ayahuasca. Is there a similar type thing with Iboga?
So let's see. I mean, a lot of people, Iboga is known by at least the Masoko Bwiti to have a very masculine energy. And, my take after, working with this medicine as long as I have is that it is kind of the blend of both the masculine and feminine, but in a very grounded, clear, direct way, which ayahuasca is a very feminine vibration. And she's a beautiful medicine, and she can also be very chaotic. You know how women communicate, but they're not communicating. Oh, I don't need flowers, but when you don't buy flowers, they're kind of pissed off. Like there's like, I can say that because I've probably done that in my life. But there's a little bit less clarity, and Iboga works in a very clear, direct way. So a lot of people receive the medicine like Iboga as a more ancient, male spirit. Sometimes people see like dreadlocks and crooked teeth. I've never experienced the medicine that way, but that they get this very clear archetype of like the old wise healer.
Wow.
Yeah. The Bwiti, all of their messages are coming from the medicine. So when the medicine was discovered, from the discovery of the medicine, the tradition was created, the instruments were created, the dance was created, using the fire. So everything that they do is coming direct from the source of the medicine. Yes.
But one of the things he was asking was, like ayahuasca, one of the snake is a very important. Is there any symbolism or imagery? I can't say that I know I don't have an answer to that. My answer would be no.
I think your answer was good. I mean, your answer was, I think it was good. And I think I heard you talk about that in one of your videos, or I think I heard you on a podcast where you're talking about the masculine energy of it. So that kind of makes sense, Yeah. And I love how the whole thing, like, it just seems like the whole Bwiti thing is in line with what, like, their tradition and their philosophy seems very in line with how that medicine helps you guys in your healing retreat. I mean, and helps people. It's quite fascinating reading all the stuff on your website about it. It seems very logically spiritual and mindful. Like, it just feels very cognitively logical to me. I don't know.
That would be the masculine, right? The masculine.
Oh, yeah.
The masculine is the order to the chaos. That is the feminine. And that doesn't make either of them better, because too much order leads to authoritarianism, and too much chaos leads to, that's why you need both.
Yes.
It'd be interesting to do both at the same time and see where you end up.
But they're both actually a really wonderful complement to one another. Not at the same time, but you know, my experience with ayahuasca for many years was chaotic. I'm an empath, and so I would collect everybody's energy. It was hard to discern what was going on. And then after I started working with Iboga more and more, now my experience with ayahuasca is much more grounded and navigable, back to your point, you know, earlier. So I think they're wonderful in tandem, you know, at different points. You know, we highly recommend people to have a good, strong integration in between any plant or any medicine that they're working with, including, you know, LSD or you know, bufo psilocybin, is to really allow the spirit and the wisdom of whatever you're receiving to settle before you go work with another. You know, because again, more is not always better, right? Or more like frequency is not always better. Sometimes always, I think the integration is the most important.
Wow, this has been fantastic. Do you want to wrap it up with the holistic part, and then how people can, you know, get in touch with you? And I mean, I like how you do smaller groups, so it's sort of an intimate. It's not a huge, you know, massive scene of 20 people. It's very intimate.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's some centers that are, you know, working with upwards of 90 people. You know, one of our teachers, Ayawasca, one of our teachers in Peru, who's recently passed away. You know, he was serving sometimes 90 to 100 people at a time on occasion. And yeah, we work with no more than 12 people, and that's our max capacity. Often it's more like between 8 and 11. Yeah. Which does make it intimate. You know, we're able to have that individual journey with everyone. We meet with everybody individually. And yeah, we have, you know, the whole experience is very intimate. We're very, very hands-on during the retreat to support people. We have an incredible menu, supportive, primarily plant-based. It's not 100% plant-based, but very, very holistically minded food that's, you know, comes from an organic farm. I have a background in the culinary realm. I was a chef for almost 25 years, a holistically minded chef for, 11, 12 years. And, you know, we offer yoga, breath work, Reiki. We have an incredible massage therapist that does all different types of treatments. Yeah. So it's really a very well-rounded experience. And the idea really is to open people's minds to how supportive all of these elements can be to our personal path. You know, I know that you have done, you know, a lot of different shamanic, like breath work and sound work, you know, all of that stuff, meditation. You know, it's not just plant medicine. There's so many different tools that we can use. And, you know, we like to offer as much of that as possible, art therapy. You know, and the idea is not to oversaturate people with a schedule, but to make all of these different modalities available so that they can really connect mind, body, and soul and understand how great they feel when they leave. You know, we just had 2 gentlemen here this last week who were both working with addiction and had not ever really done a whole lot to take care of themselves, and, you know, eating fast food for every single meal, smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, and came here. And by the end of the week, they were like, I just can't believe how great I feel. You know, medicine, of course, but then just the whole process. And so the idea too is just to open people's minds to take better care of themselves, really. And that's not to say you can't treat yourself. It's not to say don't eat meat, or, you know, don't eat ice cream, or don't, you know, watch media. But the idea is to really be mindful of what you ingest, both, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally. You know, the world is chaotic and life is busy, and it's important to really take time to nurture our mind and our bodies and our soul.
Totally. What's the website if people want to look into it?
awakenyoursoul.co. awakenyoursoul.co.
Right on. Well,
you're happy to have a conversation with anyone. You know, if this is something, usually you get the call, not usually, always you get the call to Iboga, but like, there's no selling this medicine. It's not like, oh, you should really do it. Like, people know when it's time. And if you are interested, chances are you're getting the call, and it might not happen for 10 years. It might happen next week. You know, some people come immediately after discovering it. Some people, it takes them a long time, but we are totally willing to have conversations with people. And, you know, we have a good amount of content, a good amount of testimonials, which are really helpful for people. And also videos of just Anthony and I explaining about this process. And yeah, we're happy to support. It's really,
well, Graham's full time now. Maybe we'll send him down.
Yeah.
We'll ship him down for a week.
It might be calling me. Yeah.
it might be.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll ship him down. It'll be COD though.
Yeah.
I'll ship him COD. He'll come in a big box.
Yeah, this has been a great chat. It's very fascinating, and we'll link to everything in the show notes. And yeah, thanks so much for your time, and good luck this year in Costa Rica.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
you guys,
it, man.
for all you do as well. Spread the word of everything, you know, that we all need deeper dives into, you know, these realms. And yeah, thank you guys for creating the platform. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah. So.
Bye.
And that was our chat.
With Amber and Anthony.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was very
Are you
good.
gonna go down?
I like it.
We'll ship you down to Iboga land.
I would. I don't know. I mean, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, because I was thinking that during the thing.
I couldn't go.
It would
One
be
day
interesting.
I'd go probably, but I'm not there right now.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah.
I've done plenty of psychedelics over the last few years. You know, I don't feel like I'm on a gap right now, if anything.
Yeah, you are on a
psychedelic gap.
Yeah. But like she
Integrating.
said, I mean, it's good that, you know, you're not mixing and matching.
But
Wait
yeah,
till
maybe
they
we'll
run
ship
the
you down. You
course
can do a
and-
show from down there.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, it just looks like a beautiful place. Oh my God.
You and Maria.
And yeah, you know. I thought about that too. I was like, well, it's been 13 years, you know, and I'm not adverse to learning more, but I mean, I feel like for the last while I just don't want to dabble in anything like mushrooms or psychedelics or whatever. But I mean, I'm not adverse to it. I mean, if it helps people in their
Starting to crack
healing
open that box.
journey,
You're starting to crack open Pandora's box.
well, yeah. I mean, why, you know?
That's bound to happen.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen. I mean, you just had a bigger rebound than me. But it seems like your
A
experience
bigger
was
rebound? What do you mean?
a longer rebound.
Rebound
From
from
getting clean. You know, it's like yours was more intense than mine. Yours is much more like you went to a place and all that stuff, right?
Oh fuck! I was 3 months in rehab.
Yeah, whereas
I
I
went
just
to-
kind of quit
yeah.
drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
I was able to do
Yeah.
stuff that way, which probably lends it to me being less of a traumatic fucking
Yeah.
experience getting clean. So
Yeah.
to go on these other things
Yeah.
doesn't seem like, oh my God, what if I'm stuck on it?
Yeah, and it's not so much for that. It's like why to me it's not about. I don't think I'd be stuck on it necessarily. But I mean, then Graham Hancock went like 70 something times to do that. I mean, after he quit smoking weed, I'm like, wow, I don't want to end up in that. You
Sorry,
know?
I'm
I
going
gotta
back down to
again.
Peru.
I gotta go back again.
I'm just living down here now.
So there is that, but I don't think it's that. It's just why mess with a good thing? Like, I'm happy with life. I'm happy with what's happening spiritually and emotionally for me, for the most part, you know, like things
For
are
the most
going. I
part.
mean, things are going. Well, there's always work to be done, but I mean, so to me, it's like, why mess with what's working, right? If it's not broken, don't fix it. I mean, I've got enough growth happening if I want it. So, but I also think it would be good. It would be fun.
To see where you end up. Big thanks to Amber and Anthony for coming on the show. Big thanks to you guys for listening. Even bigger thanks if you're one of the 1 in 100 that decide to support our work over here. If you want to join those ranks, head over to grimerica.ca/support today. Sign up for a monthly or make a one-time donation or sign up for the Patreon or buy a shirt over at grimerica.ca/swag. Check out our other show, grimericaoutlaw.ca, or sign up for our Rockfin. Just something to support the stuff over here so we can keep going. We just churned past 500. Now we're on to the next 500. And if it's adding some value to your existence, maybe you could add some value to our existence over at grimerica.ca/support. Check out all the stuff in the show notes. There's a bunch of ways you can help the show that don't cost you anything and do help us over here as well. Other than that, we love you, motherfuckers. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
Teach me all your secrets to get a good handle on a better way does one get out of bed every day in the throes of the apocalypse? Should I bury my head in the sand or sabotage their evil plan? I feel really trapped, an ant burned by a magnifying glass. It's all a little bit too convenient, all the evidence went up in flames. Phonies, fraudsters, scammers belong in the slammer, my friend, best give up their names. Should I call on militiamen or pass out a petition pen? I feel really trapped, an ant burned by a magnifying glass. I don't know what y'all been told, but I got a soul made out of gold. Sound off, 1, 2, sound off, 3, 4, cadence count, 1, 2, a 3, 4. Some time ago a crazy dream came to me. I dreamt I was walking into World War III. As prophetic as humidity, as aching bones, as frantic animals. Sophia wrote it down, built an ark, now she floats it down a river dark. As prophetic as deja vu, as wormwood, as falling stars above. Sophia wrote it down, built an ark, now she floats it down a river dark. I can't even hear my own thoughts for the life of me over the din of a bruised and broken culture. The media spins and splatters and spins and clatters, and I cringe because it's psychological warfare. Don't you feel yourself getting really mad? How did we let it get this bad? Don't you feel really trapped, like a brain in a vat? Hard to close Pandora's box, but sirens are singing me off a cliff. I'm looking to hitchhike to Shangri-La over yonder. Sophia, would you give me a lift? Hopped out of the Hegelian rebellion. Say goodbye to all you Machiavellians. Let evil destroy itself. I'm bound for Shangri-La. 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 I'll let you be in my dream if I could be in yours. I'll let you be in my dream if I could be in yours. As prophetic as morning doves, as groundhogs, as fallen stars above. Sophia wrote it down, built an ark, now we're floating it down a river dark. As prophetic as white wolves, as butterflies, as rainbows. Sophia sings it now. We built a plane, now we're taking flight above a river bright.